Francisco Franco was born in 1892 in El Faro de Cadillo, Spain. He died in 1975 in Madrid, Spain. Franco led the nationalists to victory in the Spanish Civil War, then declared himself dictator of the war-torn country. As a fascist, he imposed strict restraints on his people. He managed to make his country available as an ally in various ways that worked to his advantage, especially with the United States.
This is Spain in 1936. Since the ousting of the monarchy in 1931, the conflict between various conservative and liberal factions had been sporadic, but had never been completely stopped. Supported by the fascists of Spain, Italy, and Germany, General Francisco Franco took charge of the nationalist military forces and faced off against the liberal loyalists who supported the king and were aided by the Soviet Union communists. Each side was passionate in the belief that their cause was right. As shipments of guns and other war material arrived from foreign supporters, the conflict promised to be long, vicious, and bloody. Before it was over, hundreds of thousands would die. As early as 1937, Franco's nationalist troops were gaining the upper hand. But it was not until 1939, when the Soviets withdrew their support of the Loyalists, that the general's troops were victorious. Franco saw the chance of a lifetime, a war-torn country in desperate need of central leadership. It was the Loyalists who had surrendered, but the truth was, the defeat was nationwide. The rubble from the fighting had hardly been cleared when Francisco Franco swept into Madrid and declared himself dictator of the crippled country. Exhausted by war, the Spanish people had no will to resist Franco's ambition. He gave himself the title El Caudillo of Spain, which means the leader. As head of the Spanish Fascist Party, which was the only political party he permitted in the country, he attempted to eliminate all opposition. He imposed strict economic controls and harsh censorship. Personally, Franco enjoyed his power and allowed his daughter to marry a Spanish nobleman. Franco declared Spain neutral during World War II, not supporting either side, but he kept a close eye on the conflict, leaning toward Germany after the fall of France, and then becoming friendlier to Britain and the United States when the tide turned against the Axis forces. Later, during the Cold War, the United States enlisted Franco as an ally against communism. Eventually, the two countries signed an agreement permitting the Americans to build air bases in Spain in exchange for $1 billion in loans and grants. The unique mark of Franco as a dictator was his longevity. While others were being deposed, he stayed in power from 1936 until his death in 1975.
Highlights in the life of Francisco Franco. He was made a general at age 34. As leader of the fascist nationalists, he fought to victory in the bloody 3-year-long Spanish Civil War. He declared himself dictator of his country. He kept Spain neutral during World War II. He benefited financially from negotiating an agreement to help the United States in the Cold War against communism. He remained dictator for 39 years until his death in 1975.